Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at a question or a thought that I have been hearing since Volume 8, specifically about Cinder and specifically about her backstory. Were they trying to get us to forgive Cinder when they told us her backstory? Now, on the surface, it looks like it. It looks like they are trying to give us a redemption arc. They are trying to show us how painful her childhood was and why we should, sympathize with Cinder. And at some level, I think any of us do. She was an orphan, away from no family, no loved ones, and then she gets adopted. But it's to an evil stepmom who mistreats her and hurts her. I mean, puts literally an electric collar around her neck that is not cool at all, and all she really wanted was a family, to be loved, to be happy. So it sounds a lot like they're trying to get us to sympathize with Cinder. But there are a couple reasons I don't think this is true. The first one being, this is too short. A good redemption arc takes time. Lots of time. The best one I can think of, it's the most iconic, is Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. His redemption arc was well seen before. It wasn't some kind of plot twist that just happened out of nowhere. They began from the very first episode showing us sympathies for Zuko and other things, so that when he turned, we all could have seen that coming. It wasn't a surprise. So, and Cinder's is nothing like that. It's short. It's just a flashback. It looks like she's already made her choices. It's already set in stone. She doesn't want to change her mind. And that gets us to the second point here is she chose the path of evil. She chose to indulge her anger and hatred. And she seems to like it for the most part. Now, it doesn't mean Cinder's psycho, and if she was treated well, she'd still end up like this? Probably not. I think Cinder could have been actually a good person in real life. This is very much her circumstances created her. But it gets down to the point here about Ruby villains choosing the path of evil. And I think that Cinder's backstory is merely supposed to tell us why Cinder chose to choose the evil path. And I think this is a very important reason because, well, one of the relics is the relic of choice. In the world of Remnant, you have a choice, and it can't just be a fake little, you could choose the evil side, but it's really better to choose the good side. There's benefits to both, and I think this is well pointed out. And I think Cinder made the choice for some very good reasons. I mean, it's not good overall. Being evil is wrong, but it's understandable. And we're going to get to that here. So what was the mindset that made her choose the path of evil? Well, first and foremost, we can see when she is training with, I'm going to mess up his name, Ronan, in the hotel basement. She talks about being a huntress. And this brings us back to Volume 2 when Oobleck is interrogating our girls about why they want to be huntresses. And he goes through and they express that there are other reasons that they want to be huntresses other than to protect the people. But Oobleck gets them to see that it is a job and you have to treat it as such. Cinder wants to be a huntress because she wants the independence and the power to keep her safe. She still wants a happy, safe life. And she thinks that the best way to do that is to have power so that no one can hurt her. Which makes a lot of sense when you have an evil, overlording stepmother literally electrocuting you. You would think that having power would mean that no one can hurt you again. Power equals safety in Cinder's mind. And this makes a ton of sense. So, you can imagine what it would be like to all of a sudden meet an evil, grim woman bathed in darkness and destruction, and she says, well, I know of these women that you could take their power from and become literally like a god. Cinder thinks this and goes, oh, if I had all that power, I would never be hurt again. And so this brings Cinder to her desire to capture the maidens. It is all a conscious choice. And I believe Cinder's backstory is supposed to explain that Cinder chose evil. She wasn't forced into it. She chose it because she believes it will keep her safe. Now, it's a twisted and warped idea. We can all see that. We can all see that, no, she's in a lot of... she's going to get herself hurt a lot more than she's going to gain power. I mean, the evidence of losing her arm and her eye to Ruby was clear. She doesn't have overwhelming power, but she still has this idea. She wants power to keep her safe. And it's not just Cinder who has this. All the villains in RWBY have this conscious choice towards being evil. But it's not always because they just want to be evil. Except for Tyrion, he just wants evil and to, devote his life to his goddess. He's Tyrion, he's crazy. It's pretty easily explained. But take Hazel. Hazel chooses the path of evil because he wants revenge. He wants revenge for his sister because of this loss he's never been able to deal with correctly. And he wants it. The problem is that eventually Osmond dies, and he realizes that he will never get his revenge. He will never be able to get revenge because Oz is gone. And now that he is gone, why is he still on the side of evil? And this explains Hazel's switch to the side of good. Or we can bring up Mercury. Mercury believes that if he just always chooses the right side, the more powerful side, he will be safe. And that he won't end up like his father. He will be safe and protected. This makes a lot of sense for the way that Mercury was raised. He always saw that if you chose the right client, who was going to pay the most money, and also not throw you under the bus, you were going to survive. And then you contrast that with Emerald, who just wants family and safety and a home. She chooses evil because she thinks it will keep her safe. She thinks following Cinder will keep her safe. In truth, it won't. But she thinks that it will. And this explains why when she comes to the realization that she isn't loved by Cinder, she isn't safe with Salem, she switches sides. Explaining that these choices to fight for Oz or to fight for Salem are far more complex than black and white issues. I think this really helps explain that. I think this is what they were trying to tell us with Cinder's backstory, is that it is complicated why people choose to be evil. And sometimes they could choose to be good. They could have chosen to help and benefit people's lives around Remnant, but they choose evil because they want it. They want the power that it will bring. They want the safety it could bring. They want something. And that desire burns within them, and so they grasp for it. And they choose. I think choice is an incredibly important part of the world of Remnant, and something that I don't think we've explored enough yet. The villains aren't true monsters, except for Tyrion and Salem. They have a reason they chose it. And sometimes it's a good reason. Sometimes it's a reason that you can understand. And sometimes it's just a misguided thought from a child, then stoked by an evil, corrupt woman who has also fallen down that same hole of hatred. Cinder is... You should pity Cinder, not forgive Cinder. She is a lost soul, now only bent on consuming and gathering all she can. She has a ravenous hunger in her, and she wants all the power she can get. And this will ultimately destroy her. I think this makes her an incredibly interesting character. And also, Watts pointed it out to us in Volume 8. This is who she is. She wants to consume, like the fire that is her favorite element to use. She will consume and consume and consume until she has burned all the fuel that she can find and flickers and dies. I hope you guys enjoyed that discussion. If you disagree with my point of view or you have a different point, leave it in the comments below. You can check out my social medias down below in the description below. And until next time, I will see you guys then. Have a great day. I am Neil47. Bye-bye.